Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Welcome back to my tazkiyah. This is Gabriel Romani. We're taking your questions. Brother's asking, I've seen a video on NoFap and about the advice of getting married, but I have exclusive SSA. What do you recommend? How do I get treated from this? I want to get treated as soon as possible. SSA again is same-sex attraction, so being a homosexual. And exclusive means like there's just no way of even considering a woman, like there's no attraction whatsoever. Some people on the Kinsey Scale, Kinsey was a psychologist who researched sexuality and basically put sexuality, his theory was that sexuality is fluid and it's from 0 to 6. So 0 is like extremely, I believe it was heterosexual, and then, it goes to incidental, homosexual, and so on. There's different, it's basically sometimes it goes to 6 to full homosexual. So, and in the middle, obviously, bisexual. Exclusive means like 100% homosexual. Some people are incidentally homosexual, meaning sometimes they have experiences, and some people are just fully homosexual, and some people are just fully heterosexual, and some people are bisexual. We're not going to get into how we reach this state, this confusion. There's a lot to be talked about that, how people can be placed in somewhere on that scale. But what we want to answer to the brother is, depending on his age, first and foremost, whether this person is going to be able to heal or not. As I told you, I've had some clients who healed before, but they were much younger. They're much, much younger. Like I think the one that I've dealt with was 14, and there was a few others who were like early 20s. So you gotta to take that in consideration. So age, why? Because your brain solidifies, develops those connections, and it's reinforced. People think that, I'm just gonna stay in my, spot, and I'm not gonna act upon it and whatnot. But the reality is, a lot of people will at least look, watch porn, masturbate, fantasize, and those things reinforce the actual sexuality. And as you grow, it becomes part of your identity. So then it's very difficult to change that. So it depends on what age you are. All conversion therapies in, I think, all Western countries are not allowed. Obviously, the push is huge from the LGBTQ community because they have legislated, they've gone into legislation to basically, imagine if you are a religious person who wants to get rid of this, there's pretty much no way you can go to a psychologist and say, help me. So Dr. Cohen, he himself, at the beginning, a homosexual, was able to actually get away from it. There's other Christians groups who have reported that they have done that. But again, it is outlawed. And why is it outlawed? Because they don't want people to do this. They want people to be homosexuals. It's a huge push and an agenda. That's very clear. I mean, if I want to treat myself from whatever, then I should be able to in a free world, right? I mean, if I can just be free and be gay if I want to, then I should also be free and be heterosexual if I want. I mean, what's the contradiction? So you can see there's a huge push. And obviously, we lost a lot of time since the time it was outlawed. Going from the mental health perspective, where it was considered a mental health issue back in the 70s, I believe still, or even before, after that, to now. So we lost a lot of time in terms of research, funding that could have been done and helped many, many people who don't want to have anything to do with this, subhanAllah, and shouldn't, because Allah created us as, alhamdulillah, heterosexuals, to be attracted to a woman, or as a man and a man to a woman. He created Eve for Adam and Adam for Eve. But again, we are in the so-called free world democracy. You cannot choose what you want, only what they want you to have freedoms within that spectrum. You're allowed to move within that. But if you want to choose something, if it's not in line with the agenda of the elite, then you're not going to be able to do that. So it's very difficult. But purification of the heart, tazkiyah, is something that purifies those initial thoughts, which lead to fantasies, which lead to boosting the sexual desire and the attraction, which can lead to obviously actions. That's the first thing you have to tackle. No fap, of course, it's a huge thing. But in the end, how long are you going to last? Naturally, the body should compensate and give you what's called a wet dream, naturally. But depends how much you've used pornography or how damaged your brain is when it comes to this. So can you last your whole life with no fapping? The reality is that no. People relapse. That's the reality. So you have to reduce the sin as much as possible. If you can get some form of support and help, but again, look at the legalities, you should. And purifying the soul through fasting, prayer, just staying totally away, lowering the gaze. Just take this situation and use it to totally reduce those sexual desires, fasting every other day or even every day if you can. Lowering the gaze, tahajjud, good deeds, stay busy, stay away from the phones, away from computers, always be surrounded by people. These are some ways to really, really lower that drive. And again, we hope and we pray because we're pushing back that one day, soon enough, that the tables will be changed. Because so much time and research could have been put into this in the last 2-3 decades, but it was blocked. It was censored. It was canceled so that people become homosexuals. And honestly, in my practice now for so many years, almost 2 decades, I see a huge increase in men and women turning to homosexuality, especially women. So this is the reality. So no fap, purification of the heart. I would recommend reading Jamaluddin Zarabos's Purification of the Heart according to the Sunnah and others, other books of purification of the heart, and focus on that. Surround yourself with people that take care of you. Don't be alone. With regards to marriage, because you have like full exclusive SSA, it depends. There's something called the Bambi effect. It's basically like referring to the when the deers, when they're young, and they just hang around with the boys, right? like the SSA. But then they finally start to notice the female deer and they leave the boys and go towards them. It is actually a term referred to when a man might experience homosexual tendencies in his young adulthood or even teenage years, but then finally realizes how attractive women are and just totally leaves that lifestyle. This is something that is reported. So there are glimpses of hope within this, and someone should never give up and should try. With regards to marriage, I know of a few people who have married and they're having decent lives and their wife is like their support partner. SubhanAllah, may Allah bless these women for this patience. I've also recommended before that, for example, a lesbian woman and a homosexual man who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they still get married and try to support each other and have some form of intimacy. First become friends, there should be an emotional connection, and maybe they can help each other in intimacy in certain ways that are halal to be able to at least release and not have that pressure. But at the same time, hold each other accountable. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they hold their hands and walk together in Jannah for doing this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.